spell power. Hello.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
I'm live.
You're alive.
Oh, excuse me. There's an echo. I gotta fix it. Alright. What was he saying? I thought you were dead for sure. I'm not, thanks to Morgan's mom.
Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead.
It's a dream.
Tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean. But what do we
Sorry,
call
I'm
you?
fixing with the audio.
You've never told us your name.
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends?
The legends.
Daveth was right.
A Flemeth.
You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that...
He's dead now.
I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not?
So, I believe there's another cunning check here, if I'm not mistaken. It sucks that we won't get the checks. Honestly, a rogue playthrough would probably be better for seeing everything the game has to offer in terms of dialogue and be able to unlock doors and stuff. But again, going through kind of a lore. Well, we're going through like our making our own canon playthrough, so we're dealing with that. Just know that there's a whole bunch more. Well, cunning. The reason I say a rogue would be easier is because cunning is a lot more integral to being a rogue. So it's why I feel like it's easier to just dump stats into points into cunning. So just to keep that in mind. But yeah, you can also play the game on your own time. So speaking plainly about Flemeth, Flemeth is a witch of the wilds, a hedge mage, a witch. So coming from the circle background, they said there are mages outside the towers, the place of law and chantry and religious rule, and that's basically what Flemeth is. So there's also a bunch of lore on Flemeth about her legends and so on. Both Morgan and a different character will actually help explore the lore for it, and it's really interesting to hear two different perspectives on it. But for now, Flemeth is this big mythical figure. Notice I said the word mythological. We'll get that more into Dragon Age Inquisition. I like Flemeth's role more in Origins and 2. Obviously, that's because there's a lot more intangible about her, a lot more bigger than life about her. Whereas Inquisition kind of takes a little bit of the magic out of it by breaking down her character a bit more. It doesn't even really break down her character. It just has her for a specific role, and then it's kind of done with her. I hope we see more of her, but let's see. But she saved us. Let's see. Okay. I guess I should thank you.
If you know what is good for you, I suppose you should.
Oh, that's not even a thing. Oh, wow. Well, so, I want to say how did you save us, but Morgan already told me. Why did you save us?
Well, we cannot have all the Grey Wardens dying at once, can we? Someone has to deal with these dark spawn.
That's
It has
true. That's very
always been
pragmatic
the Grey
of
Warden's
Flemeth.
duty to unite the lands against the Blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking?
It changed when half of us died. Yeah, I remember that. He says it. I mean, it didn't change. But unfortunately, Logain just walked off with our army. And unfortunately, the two of us are not an army.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do it?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature.
It's true.
Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The archdemon.
Yeah. As we talked about what an archdemon is. It's a big dragon. Filled with the taint. So, my question is... There's a lot of speculation right now about why Logain would do this. He grew up with the king, who was basically the king's uncle. Or, honorary uncle. So, it's not even what he hopes to gain. It's just, really, why would he do this? He can't be this evil, can he?
The throne? He's the Queen's father. Still, I can't see how he'll get away with murder.
It's not murder.
Speak as if he would be the first king to gain his throne that way. Grow up, boy.
If Al Eno knew what he did, he would never stand for it. The Landsmeet would never stand for it. There would
Well, also, the thing is, Alistair obviously knew a lot of these people more personally than we did. And we'll come back to that a little bit later, and much later again, also. But Logain, what he did, when we understand his motivations more, and I'm so happy that there is a motivation for it, it's not mustache twirling. He doesn't want to rule. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's not murder. It's just something really pragmatic about war that you see in a lot of Bioware stories. So we'll unravel more of Loghain later, because he is one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Not the favorite. I don't know who is my favorite. Probably Morgan or someone else. In terms of like best written, those two characters are really high up there. Personal favorites, that's something different. We'll get into that later. But Alistair's basically saying, as our resident expert, because we've been almost every background except for the human noble is like doesn't really know how politics work in the main human setting of the region you're in. So Alistair's going to be the person who knows all that stuff, being a native to this country. Us being a circle mage, we don't really know anyone. Being a Dalish elf, a city elf, you're not really important enough or in culture enough to really understand who anybody is. I would argue human noble and city elf would have the best chance of knowing who anybody is in the main story threads, while as every origin kind of knows the beats of their own like origin. Like I know who the first enchanter is. I know who the knight commander is. I know Templars and mages. Dwarf noble knows who the king is. Dwarf castless knows who the smugglers are in Orzammar and stuff like that. So everyone has kind of their expertise, but unfortunately this is not us. So our answer here would be, hey, our Eamon, the Arl of Redcliffs, because Duncan talked about him during the battle or before the battle.
I suppose. Al Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Kaelin's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
To what end, though? Like, what exactly would we do with, like... I guess he would help us reveal Loghain's crimes and help us unify the country. Because as it is now, Loghain is basically not dependable. We'll get more information about what Loghain's actually doing when we head to the next town, and that kind of cements why Loghain is beyond our diplomacy right now. But let's say this doesn't work out with Eamon and it's not what we need. What do we do then?
You have more at your disposal than merely old friends.
Of course! The treaty.
Where's my chapstick?
Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves,
we still have the treaties on us.
They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army.
The who knows what else part is really great.
So can we do this? Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army?
Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. As long as there's some profit in it. I doubt it'll be that easy. Why not? Isn't that what we're supposed to do? So there's a lot of way you can play this. You can say, hey, let's be cautious. Let's not have any delusions of grandeur. Hey, I'm just in this for me. And, like, doubtful but still forward about it. Like, still optimistic. And this is why not. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? That's probably the most optimistic answer. Let's see, Bill. Can we do it? Can we build an army? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? You tell me, man.
So you are set, then. Ready to be Grey Wardens.
I guess so. Don't push us, old woman. We're leaving. I guess we have to be leaving. I don't suppose you could offer any more help.
Now that you mention it, I do have one more thing to offer.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears.
I love it that she just high on her own jokes. These are mom jokes. The Flemeth is mom jokes. Hey, I appreciate getting the support, but if Morrigan doesn't want to join...
Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the Horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Okay. All right, we'll take her.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems?
I mean, it's fine. We're wardens. We can recruit anybody.
Do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man. Perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Very valid point.
This is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite for Eldon against the Darkspawn.
And this is really like,
They need you.
you have a quest to go
Without
on.
you, they will surely fail.
You
and
must
all
go.
Perish under
You have a
the
great quest ahead of you.
I.
Understand.
And
Right.
you, Wardens, do you understand?
Sounds cool.
I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this
Oh.
because you must succeed.
I understand.
Allow me to get my things, if you please.
Alright. You ready?
I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. It is not far, and you will find much you need there.
That sounds good.
Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
No, that's cool. Hey, I prefer you speak your mind.
You will regret saying that.
Oh, she's gonna speak her mind super hard.
Mother, you are so kind to cast me out like this. How fondly I shall remember this moment.
Well, I always said, if you want something done, do it yourself. Or hear about it for a decade or two afterwards.
Do you really want to take her along because her mother says so?
I mean, dude, look, we need all the help we can get. We might as well. And if you are like a rogue or a warrior, it's really great to have a mage in your party, obviously. You can get rid of Morrigan at some point. I forget when. I think you just tell her to like just scram. I think you can do that once you get to a certain point in the game. But we need all the help we can get, and I'm not gonna say no. You know?
I guess you're right. The Grey Wardens have always taken allies where they could find them.
Yeah, look at my hands, man. I need help.
Pleased to have your approval.
All right, I did have some questions.
I may have answers. Ask.
Okay. Tell me about this village.
It is a small place of little consequence called Lothering.
Mm-hmm.
No more than a stop along your
I wish my face
highway
looked as good as
where
Morgan's
travelers
face.
purchase goods from local farms.
Maybe it's the
and
mascara.
I would go more often.
The raccoon
not for the
eyes.
town's
They really do it for me.
It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A Chantry. And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch.
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing.
Yeah. So is there any reason we should go there then?
I mention it for its tavern, where travelers gather with news from other places. 'Tis small enough that our appearance might go unnoticed. Beyond that, 'tis close, and I know the way.
That's fair. Have you ever been outside the wilds?
From time to time, I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are.
That's
On
so
occasion,
curious.
I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother
Yeah.
wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here.
Is that what you want?
What I want is to see mountains. I wish to witness the ocean and step into its waters. I want to experience a city rather than see it in my mind. So, yes, this is what I want. Actually, leaving is harder than I thought, however. Perhaps Mother is right. It must simply be done quickly.
So that's our first glimpse of like Morrigan being more complicated than her traits show her to be. Because on the surface, you meet Morrigan, she's really like kind of cynical, kind of in your face, kind of insulting, just kind of like, "Ooh, aren't you a dumb idiot? I'm so cool." Like she gives off the Ice Queen vibes, like she wants nothing to do with you, but she also likes messing with you. But it's that answer that reveals who she really is, and we'll get way more into it later, because she's a great character. With like lots of depth, which explains that basically what she actually wants in life is not to be the Ice Queen with skyscraper level ambitions. It's, I want to live life to the fullest. And then she even says at the end there, but leaving my home is harder than I thought. Even everything that she talks about with her family, with Flemeth and living here, even when she describes how all of that shaped her and how difficult it was, she even says it's like, it's still tough, even though like she's sassing her mom like, oh yeah, I'm leaving, kicking me out, whatever, but like it's still hard for her. Like this is still something like she feels emotionally, even if she doesn't want to admit that she has emotions. And we'll get more to that too, especially that she doesn't like being vulnerable. So how are we gonna get past the Darkspawn, by the way?
The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn.
Yeah.
Conversely, they can sense us.
I don't sense anything.
You won't right away. No. It takes time. We should be able to sneak past smaller groups.
I can't wait to get the cannon and look for our character. It'll take a little while, but we'll do it.
Will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. It is important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in.
The Darkspawn are further in the forest?
They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where
scary.
they will be most concentrated.
All right. I'm not going to ask that top question, because we're going to kind of save it for when we speak to her more specifically as a party member. And also, I feel like it's kind of rude to ask. There's a lore reason to ask, but I just don't feel like asking it. And if need be, I'll explain it. If we somehow miss something, I'll explain what we're missing. So what skills do you have exactly?
I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your...
So that means they're both mages. They're both magic users.
Cook?
I can cook, yes.
So you can poke fun at Alistair on like, you can reverse burn it. You can barrel through with like, yeah, misogyny, nice. Or you can just be like, you don't have to cook.
You missed your chance. Now it's charred rabbit from here on out.
That's gross. Anyways, let's go.
Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the Blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
So you saw that, how she tries to like, oh, we got +4 for both of them. Nice. So you see that basically kind of like betrays how Morgan actually feels. Like she's basically saying that like, yeah, all right, don't kill yourself or whatever, Mom. And she's like, yeah, all right, great. I raised you, and this is like, I'll just die someday. And she goes, oh, snap, sorry, I didn't actually mean to do that. We need to give Alistair trap making for a quest we have, so we're gonna do that right now. I'd rather not waste it on anybody else. So we have now strength 22. So strength 22. We need strength and dex to pop up eventually. So that's really all Alistair needs is those two stats, and then we'll pump Constitution and Willpower as we need to. I believe, right? Yeah, that's it. All right, let's give him. I guess let's just push this. Honestly, this is the only thing we have. Shield defense. Yeah. Other than that, we can do precision striking. This is. Are any of these passive? No, these are all activated. I like the passive ones. This is taunt. This is precise. So you slow down attacking for more crits. Shield balance. Oh, that's actually pretty good. No penalty to shield defense. Shield wall. Shield expertise. Okay. Let's do shield defense. Whatever. Now let's give Morrigan some new stuff. She's got a good magic staff actually. It's steel, and I have iron. Oops, oh god, I was gonna sneeze and it's gone. Oh, mine's better. I have more spell power, but she has more base damage. Okay, we don't need to give her anything crazy. I don't keep saying the word crazy. All right, let's trash one of these. Oops, a daisy. Sorry, Morgan. Damn it, Morgan. So Morgan has her own robes. Honestly, you can put her in more stuff, but I like her iconic look a lot. So I'm not really going to focus on changing it too much. Like even this gives her more... Oh no, she gets 2 magic out of that, so it's probably her best stuff for a while. So okay, here we go. We're going to give her more willpower, more spell power. I don't think I'm going to spec her into blood magic. I might, but I usually don't. I find Spirit Healer a lot more useful for my mage party members. Honestly, if I could rip out Shapeshifter and give her that, that would be way better. But who cares? So Sash of Forbidden Secrets. There's also some other stuff we can give her. She has her own necklace, I think, already, right? It's Charm of Still Waters. No, Wildstone Clasp. Plus willpower, mental resistance. That's pretty good. The Wicked Oath. No, you don't want that. Ring of Study. Yeah, you can have this. Let's see, the Ice Band. Probably the Ice Band. No, not the Ice Band. Do you have any other rings to give her? No, actually I don't. Alright, we'll move on. Alright. Let's talk to Flemeth a little bit before we leave.
Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging
I
about
was hoping for some stew. Could you answer some questions?
Questions. One would think a Grey Warden would be more interested in action.
Not me. Can I ask about your magic?
Looking for new spells. Secret.
So if you're a mage, this is like kind of unique to you a little bit. Her response
They're
is,
of no use to you without years of practicing my ways. I am not like your circle with its books, you see. Not that I would mind a handsome lad to order around for a year or so.
If I were you, I'd take the Darkspawn.
so that's really funny. So if you're a mage, she's like, you really couldn't learn it. It would take too much time to have you unlearn the way you've been taught and then relearn my way. It's a lot of that. It's really cool. I like that idea in Magic, that there's limitations and specific methods and techniques that you need to go into. And if you're not a mage, obviously, she's like, you're not a mage. It wouldn't do anything for you. How long have you lived here?
Since before I was wrinkled and old. You may think it strange, but I was once young and beautiful, just as...
And my hair didn't clip through my cheeks.
Yes, men desired Flemeth then, and some even killed for her.
That must have been a long time ago. These are just mean. These are both just mean. You don't seem overly happy about that, though.
I am not, nor was I then. It dictated all that followed. But enough. You have your task to complete.
Fair enough. So what are you going to do once we're gone?
Oh, have a moment's peace for once.
I hear the peace of the grave is eternal.
This is the thanks I get for feeding you and putting up with you for this long. Bah! May your child one day treat you the same.
Feed me, she says. Without me, I swear, she shall be caked in dirt and eating tree bark inside of a month.
That's funny. Any advice?
About the Darkspawn?
About anything, really.
Then hear this. I laugh at a world full of stupid humans who ignore the Blight's evil and abandon their vigilance to chase mortal goals. Remember, it is up to you to destroy the Blight. Pray not for someone else to destroy it. It will always...
Basically saying anybody that's promoting their own self-interest at a time of crisis is an absolute moron. Kind of similar to Game of Thrones and the White Walkers. No more questions.
Then we are done. Now
Alright, that's about it. We'll talk more to Morrigan on the next road out of here. But for now, let's all just leave. Let's just leave. We should save, too. It's been a hot minute since we saved Load. Let's save here. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Headless lady. A lot of statues like this. Alright, let's go, everybody. Alistair, you look like an idiot. You did it to yourself, really. Gather your party and venture forth to Lothering. It's Lothering. I'm not an idiot. I think some people pronounce it Lothering, though. And this is a encounter on the road. We will get some of these naturally once we actually hit the main world map. They'll happen randomly. And then there'll be certain triggers. This one always happens.
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly.
So that's looking,
There are
obviously.
those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this Darkspawn incursion, but we must do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Honora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most fortuitous.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you!
The Bannorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Van Tegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Van Tegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, your Majesty?
So, pretty straightforward there. Loghain is back in town after the battle to say, hey, we need to regroup. I'm announcing myself the Queen's Regent in absence of the King's death. In lieu of the King's death. So, hey, let's get to work. Everyone get to work. The Darkspawn are coming. They're bigger than we think they are. Let's do it. And basically, everyone, or at least half the people are there like, hey, it's pretty suspicious that you came back alive and not the king that we all like. And now you get a promotion. And Loghain basically says, I am loyal to this country, and I don't want any of you not doing your job because you're being suspicious of me. Right? Now, he didn't kill the king, but the king was in a position to be killed. Oh, shoot. So, as you can clearly see, this dog just showed up here. Oh, jeez. I need a cone spell. We'll get one after this soon. Let's hit Death Siphon so we can get some stuff back. Oops. I hate that. If the spell gets used but it doesn't hit anybody and then I lose, I have to hit the cooldown still. Sweet. And the dog's here. Hello. Aww. Hey, this is the dog we helped back at Ostagar.
I think he was out there looking for you. He's
Well, that's super cute. I love him.
You. Mabari are like that. They call it imprinting.
Does this mean we're going to have
Normal dogs do that too.
beast following us about now? Wonderful.
He's not mangy.
Aw. I guess I've always wanted a dog. Maybe it's meant to be. So cute. I love you. So, what are we going to name it? We could just name it Dog. That's really hilarious. There's also another name we could do that is somewhat canon to the alt universe Darkspawn Chronicles. It is called Barkspawn. That's really hilarious. My fanfiction name I put for one of my fanfiction projects was Benji. But I'm gonna go with Barkspawn. Oops. I really like Barkspawn. It's really hilarious. And it's the best thing ever. So we're just gonna call him Barkspawn. You could just call him Dog. That's cool too. But for the purposes of the playthrough, his name is Barkspawn. If anybody ever refers to my fanfiction projects, this universe, his name is technically Benji. Both start with B. It's totally fine. Nothing wrong with me. So stupid. I love it. Oh, we got new stuff. Sweet. So there's no weight system here. It's just, are you at max capacity? Yeah, look, I found Barkspawn. Are you past capacity or not? And we don't have anything for the dog, but the dog does have specific items it wears. We will get more of these items eventually. Oh, hold on. Totally forget. We have a shield for Alistair because his strength went up, I'm pretty sure. Yep, and it's a much better shield. Okay. Well, we have a lot of these things. 18 spell power, magic, spirit giant. I don't know what to do with those. Let's see. Chainmail, heavy chainmail. We don't need two of these, especially not right now. The dog can't wear rings and stuff, right? I just want to remember. It's been forever. The dog cannot wear rings. Thank you. I'm not crazy. Let's throw this away. Into junk. Let's throw some more of those hats away. Because those hats are disgusting. Oh, not this way. Is this hat disgusting? Morgan, help me. Disgusting? Disgusting. I hate it. I'm sorry. I will not wear it. I refuse to wear it. And I'll throw away some of these bows eventually. I really like a lot of these characters don't use bows. Alistair, what's your bow? You have the Wild's bow, right? The Wild's bow. A short bow isn't really helpful. Although apparently they have the same... Oh, no, sorry. Longbow. 37. 6.60. Equipped by Alistair. Give him the longbow. Alright. And these are both short bows, so we don't need... We trash this, yeah. So we'll sell all this later. And we have a longsword. Oh, my longsword is better. Why did I think it wasn't? I'm so stupid. Now we have a Grey Warden longsword. So we can have this for... Where's my sword? Where did it go? Where did the other sword go? It's not in junk, is it? Did I press junk by accident? Where did the sword go? I'm not crazy, am I? He had a Grey Warden sword. And it's gone now. Oh. My bad. I'm stupid. That's what it was. It was just me being stupid. You know what, though? If I only have this one bow, he should stay with that. There you go. I'm so sorry. That was dumb of me. I forgot I was on the wrong set. And it is the same. I was looking at the bow. God, that was an exercise in stupidity. Jesus. What's the bonus for this? Characters and spells cost less. Bonus to armor. So you do get bonuses for wearing a complete set of something. So you can always decide how you want those sets to go. Morrigan. You don't have gloves or feet. So give you the Enchantress footing for a higher defense rating. Studded leather. Yeah, we're going to keep... That's not for you, sorry. I'm just wearing these for a slightly higher defense. Alright. So we got Dog. And the great thing about Dog is two things. Can you do anything about this gory mess? I'm clean now. So that means for cutscenes, I look beautiful, which is great. It also means that Dog just licked me clean. Yep. It's exactly what it sounds like. I didn't even use peanut butter. But the other great thing about Barkspawn, do you see anything interesting? He brought us pants. One can never have too many pairs of pants. And he's so happy. So Barkspawn will just give you random stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's an other, I think, isn't it? Wait, it's not another? Here it is. A dirty pair of pantaloons. It's a gift. It's not really for anyone. Like, this one's good for Morrigan. But let's, what we want to get is something very specific, and it's random, I think. He didn't find... I like how the camera pans on him like that, like it's disappointed in him. Let's try a couple more times. No, okay, I think we're done for here. So in the next area, we'll do it again. The thing I want to find is a staff. It's a pretty good staff for mages. So we'll work with that for the time being. And now, what we're going to do is kind of talk to Morrigan for a while. I haven't talked about what I want to do with Morrigan specifically for my playthrough. But essentially what I want to do is I want to trigger her romance. Because there's obviously, look at me. There's romance in this game. But for Morrigan, I find her friendship route more satisfying and more interesting. So we're going to pursue her romance a little bit. Enough to get a very specific item that we're going to hold on to until the DLC. And then trigger more interesting conversations. And then we're going to back it off and be your friend again. And then we'll go into the playthrough more when that happens. But just so you know and understand what I'm doing, that's what I'm going for. Also, let's be honest, Morrigan's a very attractive character. In terms of role-playing, like Morrigan, it's easy to be attracted to her type of personality. God, my words suck. Personality. So let's just get started and talk about what she's going to talk about.
What do you wish of me?
So as you get to know these characters better, their beginning sentence of, what do you wish of me? Hello, friend. And like, hello there, you. They get like a lot more friendlier, romantic, intimate. So we say, let's talk about something.
If you must.
Let's see here. So, Morrigan has a shapeshifter speciality. I talked about it before. It basically means she can shapeshift into different animals and gain different abilities for a certain amount of time, I think. I think it's time-based. So, we're not really gonna use it. honestly all that much. So let's just talk to her about it. How did you become shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Yeah, it's funny. So, yes, Witch of the Wilds are known for being basically like boogeymen for children to be afraid of. Like, hey, don't act out, or if you disobey me and run away, the Witch of the Wilds will grab you and devour you. But jokingly, we can say back, oh, she's been doing this for a while then.
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
So some characters have these specialties that you can learn from them. And they save from game to game, which is really great. So like if you start as a rogue in the next game, or let's say you're playing as a rogue now, and in the next game you start as a mage, as soon as you hit level 7 as a mage, because you've already learned a different playthrough to be a shape changer, you can just earn the shape changer specialty that way. Typically when you earn it through a companion, the companion has to raise their likability with you to teach you, because typically each specialty is a backstory for each of the companions. So you have to like earn their trust to kind of like learn more about them and have them open up to you. But they'll say, like, there'll be dialogue. Like if you weren't a mage here, she's like, oh, I can teach you the basic concepts, but you can't do it. You're not a mage. So for me, we are a mage. So she'll explain that we can do it if we want to enough. But there might be a likability check, which we might fail right now, but that's fine. The option remains open for later. So can you change into human forms?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
I'm sure it advanced shapeshifter, shape changer could probably become a different human. It's just a mindset thing, but it's so much more precise to become a different person. Like to understand another human, like at that point you could probably just steal their credit card once you know them enough. So you wouldn't gain a lot out of it if you really knew them that well, because at that point you could just probably rob them or just kill them or whatever you want to do with them. Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. What do other animals think of you?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
So yeah, it's I don't unlock a whole new world of possibilities. It's just, I get to blend in. I've never really heard of this magic before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
So basically, the chantry prohibits certain types of magic. So they control the mages, so they want to make sure they stay in line with what they think is proper mage behavior. It's a way of controlling them, but also of avoiding practices they think are too dangerous. Obviously, adopting a more animalistic tendency or blending in or hiding from plain sight, they feel is too dangerous because it opens up too many possibilities that, if I turned into a mouse, which is a possibility, not in the gameplay, but in shape-changing, I could just leave anything, right? That's a dangerous skill for someone you want to keep inside a building at all times, because they could just escape and you wouldn't know the difference, unless you had magic wards and stuff like that. So it is very useful, and in a world where magic can be free, and it's just knowledge like any other, to block it off, I think sounds like that sucks. So the Chantry prohibits it. So it's not just prohibiting magic that takes advantage of other people, like blood magic. It's magic that can basically, they think is unstable, unpredictable, or is easily abused, or goes against their belief, their core tenets. You know, my character thinks those traditions are really radical, and there should be different types of magic. We should be open to them and to exploring these concepts and not hiding away from them just because they might be dangerous.
I'm shocked that you think so, being a mage of the circle as you were. But perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower.
Yeah, I did. But you can play this any way. You can say no, you can say yes, you can kind of be coy about it, or you can be really coy about it. Yeah, I did.
I thought so.
So can anyone be a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell, and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
All right, that's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
No. That would make you angry. Maybe tied to a flagpole and tickled. It's a little gross. Yeah, that's the least I would do to you. No, I think your abilities are really cool. I think that's really fascinating and honestly really useful.
Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
So as far as dialogue concerned, Morrigan likes it when you obviously... any character likes it when you approve the decisions or you agree with them. But Morrigan specifically likes pragmatic, non-dogmatic beliefs. Like more flexible, free-thinking beliefs. That's Morrigan's thing. Let's do one more dialogue with Morrigan before we
Wish of me.
start moving on.
If you must.
Let's see. So So after we do the conversation, this is if we asking her. She's probably gonna say no, so we won't even bother asking. Let's try to make dialogue that's more familiar with what we think it is. Let's go with either Kakari Wilds or Flemeth. Let's do this because we just left Flemeth and we won't talk about Flemeth again for a while. So is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
I guess human? That's the best answer? Oh, is really what she seems to be. Is she really human?
Oh, she certainly was human.
She seems larger than life.
Once.
And almost immortal when you talk about her.
How much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still
So this is the
tell
story.
to frighten them.
This is the story you can hear from Morrigan's perspective. And there's another character you end up having as a party member that will tell you the actual fairy tale. And it's interesting because you know the person who it's about is theoretically this person's mom. So it's interesting. I've heard a little of it.
No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds great.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
I heard this part.
The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard.
This is also very familiar to Flemeth saying that men have died for her.
Swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conobar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
So in this version of the story, well, we'll hear the original version of the story, but basically it's one man tries to steal another man's wife, and apparently according to the person it's about, according to Flemeth, what she's told Morgan is no, this was straight up just a regular deal where my lover, Osen, talked about another guy wanting to be with me and agreed to a deal where we traded money for me. So he just straight up sold his wife to another man.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in
And
the
it was
wake of
Flemeth's idea.
'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So, according to the story, they made a deal. Conabar didn't actually have the money, and so decided just to murder Osen anyways. And Flemeth was like, okay, well, now I'm going to talk to spirits. She's probably a mage at this point in her storyline, so she could talk to spirits. And she swears revenge. And this leads to a common theory in which people believe Flemeth is a mage who absorbed a spirit into her body, and that's why she has such like these extraordinary types of abilities. Because according to the Chantry, if a spirit or demon inhabits a human's body and possesses them, they become an abomination. They become something other than human. But in a way where it's consensual and doesn't corrupt the mage's body, something different happens. We'll learn more about that with a different character, which is really interesting and fascinating about how the difference between consensual agreements towards this type of cohabitation and symbiosis as opposed to parasitic relationships in magic. Really interesting stuff. We'll learn more about that difference later, but just understand this is where the theory comes from. The story that Flemeth did this and got her power, or more power. But she spoke to spirits or demons?
Spirits first, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conabar's...
So spirits killed a man,
you see.
according to
Chased her
Flemeth.
to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Oh, which part isn't true? The part that she never invaded, or that he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually...
That's really funny. It's like, yeah, there was a war apparently in my name. Didn't happen. Didn't actually happen. So how is it that Flemeth survives for so long if these legends are so old?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Okay. So this legend talks about how Flemeth actually has many daughters, doesn't it?
You ask if I have sisters.
Oops.
I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she not talk of them
The
if they existed?
Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through
Jesus
the
Christ.
wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
All right. But aren't abominations usually crazy, insane monsters?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
That line makes me think that's really cool, is that Flemeth, in her desperate grab to find power and vengeance and safety, became something that she doesn't even fully understand. And I think that still carries through most of her story in the Dragon Age series, which is why I'm worried about them breaking it down too much, because there's a lot of mystery to that. But at the same time, I am super curious. So, do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims.
Of course. She could be biased.
Her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
All right. Well, thanks for telling me. That was really interesting.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious, nevertheless.
So, you can talk about your background. If you're a Dwarven noble, I think your mother passed away. If you're a human noble, your mother definitely passed away. You were there. City elf, your mother passed away, for sure confirmed. I love her. What else do you need to know? I want to say I never knew her, because as an elf mage, you never really got to know anybody. In the Dalish, you find out that your parents were in love. I think they were from different tribes, and they just, I think, died for some... Dude, that one's a really long one. I forgot. I think they were killed by humans, maybe. I don't want to speak or confirm that, because I totally forget what's the Dalish elf parent background. There's really not much to say about her. Sorry.
I see. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on.
I envy your nothing parents. Your parents that don't exist. We'll talk more to Alistair probably in the next zone, but I figure we should get moving, so let's keep moving.